What's up everybody, Diddy here, and this is another episode of Understanding Halo 4, a series where I take one aspect of current information about Halo 4 and break it down to help provide a better understanding of what it means. In this episode, we're talking armor abilities. All of them. Well, I guess most of them. This episode is going to be a general overview of all the armor abilities we've seen from in action from E3, so if you would like to see a more detailed breakdown of any of the abilities that I'm about to cover, go ahead and leave a comment down below and I'll get right on that. So the abilities I'll be talking about today are the Hardlight Shield, Thruster Pack, Promethean Vision, and Hologram. I've excluded the active camo, even though we know it's in the game, because we haven't seen any gameplay of it, so we don't know if it's going to be the same as in Reach or if they've tweaked it just a little bit. So if I miss anything, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to put those updates either in annotations or in the description below. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First off, the Hardlight Shield, a new ability making its debut in Halo 4. So when you deploy the Hardlight Shield, your Spartan goes into third-person view and begins to hold a shield from head to toe in front of them, blocking bullets as you slowly move around the map. It's said to be able to take infinite damage and only runs out by the time limit, which is roughly 5 or 6 seconds. From some gameplay, we can see that enemy players can melee through the shield if they get close enough, and it can also, enemy players can also bounce grenades around you to try and take you out. So you cannot melee with the shield if you're thinking this is like Call of Duty's Riot Shield, and you cannot use any weapons while you're using the shield. So when your shield's deployed, that's pretty much the only thing, and you're pretty much a walking target at that point. So the shield will change colors as the timer runs out to help signal you and other players as to how much longer you have with it. And in my opinion, this is absolutely nowhere near as bad as Armor Lock. So I don't mind it being in the game at this point. I haven't played 700 games of Halo 4 yet to really have a grudge against the Hardlight Shield. So I have no problem with it at this point. Secondly, I'm going to go ahead and go over the Hologram. There's nothing really interesting to say about it, since from what I've heard, it's pretty much the same function as Reach. You deploy it, it runs straight, it's just a decoy. What I'd like to see from the Hologram in Halo 4 is its ability to turn. The ability to turn it. So imagine this. If you're sitting down a hallway and you know there's a couple guys coming at you, you go ahead and deploy the hologram, and by simply turning your own Spartan, the hologram mirrors what you do. So I think that makes it a little bit more effective. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's just, something I would like to see changed for Halo 4, or added, I guess I should say. So next, we're going to move on to the Thruster Pack. From what I've seen and heard, this is not a replacement for the Jetpack. The Jetpack, I'm not sure if it's confirmed in the game or not. I haven't seen anything from it, so if it is, let me go ahead and let me know, and I'll put up an annotation if it is. So it's not a replacement for the Jetpack, and is more similar to an evade effect from Halo Reach. When you use it, the Thruster Pack gives you a short burst of speed in any given direction. If you've ever played the Force Unleashed game, Star Wars Force Unleashed, I guess you could compare this to your Force Dash. Pros who have played the game, especially I think Best Man, he's compared it to Reach's evade ability, but it differs in that, I'll credit Nexi for this statement too, that it differs in that the Thruster Pack doesn't reduce your hitbox like evade did. So instead of your Spartan curling up into a ball and flying down the map, your Spartan simply moves quickly in a certain direction. The hitbox doesn't really change. You might slightly get smaller, but it's nowhere near as dramatic as evade. So despite these statements, Frank O'Connor has said that it's not supposed to be similar to the evade ability in any way, but we'll just have to wait and see to see how it plays out in the game. So and finally, I don't know for certain, but I believe it is a one-use ability before it has to recharge. So next is Promethean Vision. We finally see this X-ray vision that everybody was talking about. And now I know I've covered this before in a previous episode of Understanding Halo 4, before we ever saw any gameplay of it, but since E3, we couldn't get enough. So when deployed, Promethean Vision pulses out, turning your visor into a bluish green color, and it highlights enemy players' full body in red. as it scans over them. And in the build from E3, which is supposedly about a month or two old at that point, players had the ability to shoot while using the vision and were not knocked out of it when hit. And then it lasts roughly 6 to 7 seconds. So since I've covered this before, I'll go ahead and break it down into a little bit more detail now. This ability was by far the most preferred by everyone who played the game at E3. Players would flip the visor on before moving into a different area of the map to get a quick glimpse of what lay ahead of them. The vision has a very generous range, but personally I believe that since it was the most usability at E3, 343 saw its a lot of its potential, so they should have realized just how powerful it was, and hopefully we can see it tweaked a little bit before the final game comes out. So from the people who have played, they also said that it didn't seem as game breaking as a lot of people think, and if anything it actually speeds up the game a bit. So and as I've said before, people know when you're using it. There's an audible cue, almost like a ping. Some people didn't notice it, but some people did, so it really just depends on how aware you are at that point. So yeah, and that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. Remember, if you want me to go into a little bit more depth into one of these topics, any of these armor abilities, if you want me to cover anything else, or just anything else Halo 4 related, just go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. And if you've made it this far in the video, hopefully I've earned some type of rating, whether it's a like or a dislike. Go ahead and show me by clicking one of those buttons. And if you're new around here and you liked the video, you can go ahead and click that subscribe button, because I plan on bringing y'all some of the best Halo content here on YouTube. Well, I guess not the best. I like to be a little bit modest, but there are a lot of good people out there. So I hope to bring you guys some great Halo content. How about that? I'll go ahead and use that. So that's it for me, guys. Keep it real.